And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. For today's Movie Lovers podcast episode, we're going to be doing our spoiler review for Gunpowder Milkshake. This is a new Netflix movie that dropped over the weekend. This movie had a budget of 30 million, I think. Yep, it had a budget of 30 million based on my notes. And I have to say, I liked aspects of this movie, but I didn't love it as a whole like I wanted it to. And I'll get into my negativities later on. But here's the thing. I love the opening sequence. Basically, it's about this girl named Sam, and Sam winds up being left by her mom at this diner, who happens to be working for this assassin type family called the Firm. The Firm is actually this place that basically hires assassins to take out certain people, and she winded up taking out the wrong person, which leads to Sam's mom going on the run. She leaves Sam behind. Then, of course, you have Paul Giamatti in this movie, which I love Paul Giamatti whenever he shows up in certain movies because you know that Paul's going to show up. He's going to go on ahead and deliver his A game. So I thought having Paul in this movie was going to be fantastic. To me, he doesn't really do much in this film to actually do anything for me to care about Paul Giamatti in this film. But still, just the excitement of seeing him in the first 5 minutes of the film was really good. And then, of course, you wind up having this flashback scene with Sam in this diner. It's like a 1950s, 1960s kind of diner. And you see her mom walking in slow motion. And then that's when she sits right across from Sam. Of course, that we wind up seeing some Russians that comes in, and one of the leaders winds up cutting her face, asking where her mom is and everything. And she talks in Russian, and she winds up not giving him any information. Next thing you know it, you see Sam's mom tell her, close your eyes. Next thing you know it, you hear a silencer go off, and the next thing you know it, bodies are everywhere around the diner. Then Sam's mom winds up jumping off, and then after driving off, and then after that, we wind up going back into present day where Sam is inside the diner, same 1950s diner and everything, and then you wind up finding out that this is not your typical diner at all. This is a place for hitman. This is basically John Wick kind of thinking, because this is like their home base. Rather than having it at a continental hotel, this is basically a diner for assassins to go to have a safe haven to where nobody can kill anybody or anything like that, supposedly. But, I definitely like the waitress. And she has like a 1950s, 60s kind of flavor to her. And everything's like, hey, can I lighten your load? And of course, that means take off your gun and everything and put it into her apron and everything. And then she goes off, and then you go in and conduct business the way you need to conduct assassin's business. Now, when Paul Giamatti drops in and everything and sees Sam sitting in there, and of course, she has her milkshake just like she did whenever her mother came, because I'm thinking in Sam's mind that her mom's going to come back eventually. She just doesn't know when. So she always orders this milkshake for two, and that's when Paul Giamatti winds up saying, look, what happened in there? This was supposed to be a quiet operation. Instead, it winded up go into all hell. And she said, well, you told me that it was supposed to be people that have like potato guns, pretty much. They're not supposed to have much ammo or anything like that, any automatic guns. And he said, well, what exactly happened? Next thing you know, it goes into a flashback scene of Sam taking out two dual pistols with silencers on it. And then you don't even see the outcome of that and everything. Here's the thing. I wish that they would actually showed how badass Sam was in that scene, because to me that took away. This is like a little small nitpicky thing, but I wanted to see this John Wick type of style whenever you're dealing with a female role of that kind of character, and we don't even see it. We always see is there's dead bodies around, and she killed some people. And now she also killed the mob boss's son, and you don't even see the lead up to that at all as to that being the mob boss's son. So I wish that we could actually saw that. But what did you think, Charlotte? What did you think of the opening scene and stuff?
Well, the opening scene actually wasn't the diner. It was like her killing the guy, like the black and kind of like black and whitey, and killing the guy in there, and then opening the door and see the whole gang of people, and she's like, "Fuck!" And that's what it introduces the opening. I thought it was a good opening because it kind of reveals who, like, we don't know much of her because her character is mysterious, which leads to more intrigue. And I slightly agree with that. I mean, like, I wanted to personally see her kill all those people, but then again, the fact that you don't see it doesn't know that she's not a badass, because we get that later on in the movie. So I guess it's just trying to progress. It's just building to that portion where she goes off, like goes John Wick on people, because we get plenty of moments of her going badass. But yeah, I thought that was a cool opening, and then the sequence with Lena Headley playing the mom. I think she was great in this, because it's really nice to finally see her play a character you like. Because you like, I mean, yeah, at the one where the mom disappearing, that, but this the other stuff you've seen Lena Headey. The last role I saw her in that I actually enjoyed her in, she was in the Sarah Connor Chronicles. She played Sarah Connor in the Fox TV shows, which was a fantastic TV show. And screw you, Fox, for canceling that on a damn cliffhanger. She played Sarah Connor, and she was great. She played a better Sarah Connor than her counterpart in Game of Thrones did, Emilia Clarke did in Terminator Genesis. Go figure. You would be rooting for Cersei to be a better Sarah Connor than the Daenerys. But moving on. But yeah, it was nice seeing Lena Headey play characters you like. It was just not really often. I mean, I'm not saying she's a bad actress. I'm not saying at all. It means you obviously she's doing something right that you hate her character. But yeah, I thought like that opening sequence with the Russian about this her taking out all the guys in the restaurant. But you feel for Sam when she got that pretty nasty cut on her face. That's actually a scar that followed her for pretty much her whole life. Pretty much. I mean, I like the opening. I like the whole the diner. It kind of like Continental, like you said about you cannot conduct. Well, they weren't pretty verbatim. Like you cannot conduct business on ground, because we clearly see business is being conducted on this, and there's no excommunicado or anything like that. I think that's more in the library. But I like the opening. I was intrigued this whole movie. I mean, this movie, like I said, I watched this Saturday night, and this was definitely a palate cleanser from that lame ass piece of shit that was Space Jam 2. And if you're wondering what we thought of it, just check out our review for it. It's more of a bashing than it is a review. But yeah, going into this one, I was really pumped to watch this. I loved it. I thought the action sequences were great. I was sucked into the story. I was sucked into the plot for it. And nothing really seemed like it seemed to move at a really quick pace, which was really nice. It didn't like I said, nothing really was like bothering me. Is it gonna be my favorite movie of the year? No. But it's definitely gonna be in my top 10. Just from when I watched it, I was fairly entertained. But yeah, I like the opening, and I love the opening. I thought it was really good. It was a good exposition to it. Paul Giamatti, like he was just at a desk, but I think since this movie's confirmed for a sequel, I think we'll see more of him. But we'll see. But I was really happy to find out that this movie got a sequel, because this one actually kind of makes sense for a sequel. Tomorrow War, not so much, but.
Right. But another thing, though, too, that I want to mention is this. The dialogue for me just felt kind of corny. It just didn't really flow well at the first act or anything like that. It took me a while to go into this whole entire thing where it was forced dialogue and stuff like that. But I'm trying to, and here's the thing, it's like I was trying to make the best of it on what they gave me. So I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to plow on through it, ignore the bad dialogue, and see where it goes with this thing. Because I want, here's the thing, I love this, like Brandy says, the nostalgia factor is awesome whenever you look at the 1950s, 60s kind of diners kind of style. The lighting is what really got me if you looked at the trailer reaction that we did for this. Because remember, I said I like the colors and everything, the color scheme of the whole entire thing of the outline. It felt like a 1950s, 60s kind of vibe to it and stuff like that. But the dialogue for me just didn't flow right for me. That's just me and me personally. But as far as the plot line and stuff goes and stuff like that, I definitely liked the plot and the way that they carried it out. There was a few little other things I didn't really care for, and I'll get to that later. But then after we get done with the whole entire thing in the diner, and don't forget, this is actually taking place a couple of years later into Sam's past and everything. This is actually taking place, I think, 15 years later?
I think so.
Yeah, it's 15 years later. That's what I had in my
notes. She's definitely an adult. I'll definitely put that.
And this time she's working for Paul Giamatti's character, Nathan. And basically Nathan says, well, I got a job for you. They stole from the firm and we need you to go on ahead and take this guy out. So she goes over to this guy's apartment and then she winds up running into the guy that stole from the firm. And so this guy gets out of the shower and everything. He sees her. He goes, and all of a sudden this cell phone rings of this panda beard cell phone rings with this strange ringtone. And then he goes, look, let me explain to you before you kill me. There's a reason why I stole the money. Next thing you know, she shoots him in the stomach. And as he's dying and bleeding out, he answers the phone. And then you hear a voice on the other end. You have 15 minutes to give me my money or else your daughter's going to die. And then then he's like, look, you got to help my daughter. He looks over at Sam. Look, you got to help me. My daughter's going to die if you don't give me the money. Give these guys the money. So Sam is thinking back on her past. And I like her facial expression at this moment because it goes into the flashback of her mom leaving her and knowing what it feels like to be an orphan. And she's like, well, fuck. Okay, so I got to go and do this. So she winds up taking the money and everything. Nathan calls her, goes, what's going on? He goes, look, I'm going to have to take the money and give it over to some people. And at that point, Nathan's like, look, just bring the money back and everything good. And he goes, no, I can't do that. You'll have your money in a couple of hours. I got to go and save a little girl. And then she was just going to leave her father there, the little girl's father there. But then she turns back around, gets the father. And then next thing you know it, she drives over to this safe house, a safe haven kind of thing, where basically it's if you think about it, it's actually a dentist for assassins. And so basically that's where they go and sew these assassins up and everything if they get shot or any kind of wounds and stuff. And the guy's like, what the heck happened? He's like, he got shot in the stomach. I need you to patch him up in 5 minutes and he needs to go and we need to go. He goes, he's not going to go anywhere in 5 minutes. So at that point, she winds up just leaving him there. Well, I'm going to go. I'll be back in an hour. Make sure he's operational by then. So what did you think of how that scene was played out?
I like it was very it's a very like typical like dentist. It's not your thing. I love the tooth. Like, here, put your weapons in the tooth. So she had to put her gun. I thought that was funny. And I knew this doctor was shady because he works with shady people like all the time. So I feel like that, like, just the build up to that about how, like, okay, that's how she's trying to save the little girl and stuff. Because I was wondering, like, okay, when does she get the jacket? Because the iconic jacket that she's wearing in our background image. But this makes sense. I think it moved the plot along. To go on what you were saying about the dialogue, I didn't mind it. I wasn't really concerned about it. I was more the dialogue didn't annoy me because I was more focused in on the story. I think I didn't personally pick up on any issues with that. But then again, I'm me. I like weird stuff. Anyway, but no, I liked how they moved this along, and it kind of makes you gear towards Sam. Yeah, she's an assassin, but she's not one that you want to root against. Like, you're rooting for her, and that's the important part of the movie. You have characters that you care about. Warner Brothers, you might want to, like, I don't know, think on that for next time. Well, luckily for Suicide Squad, I think you've done it. But for other movies who let's leave the initials as SJ2, you need to work on that. They made me listen to this because they get a sequel. That other movie may not. But yeah, sorry, I'm going to keep throwing shade at it because it was awful. But anyway, I liked how they moved this along. And I had a feeling something was going to happen to the father. Because I don't think they really explained. Because I don't think Sam shot him. I don't think that was a killing shot, to be honest.
Yeah. Basically, he got shot in the stomach. That usually, if you get shot in the stomach, it's pretty much it. You can bleed out and stuff like that. It's hard to come back from a gun wound with something like that, to be honest with you. And Sam did shoot him in the stomach. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Oh, sorry,
but no. It's fine, man. It's perfectly fine. But I was also thinking the same thing too, though. The first time I saw it, I was like, did this doctor kill him or did Sam kill him and forcing blame on Sam so she can go ahead and admit that she killed the little girl's father? But then I'm thinking, well, a gunshot wound to the stomach, there is a such thing as a hard comeback for it and everything too, for someone to come back after being shot in the stomach. So it's iffy. It can go on speculation pieces on depending on how you see it. Just for me, I'm going to say that the gunshot wound is the reason why, because look at all the blood he was actually, that he had on him and everything when Sam brought him in. But that's just my opinion, though.
I don't think it was, I think Sam, the shot, because he still seemed okay when she left. And because it took a while for Sam to get back to the doctor area, because obviously the three goons who we'll get into in a sec were there too, and they're on the laffy gas, and how the doctor knew, I think the doctor was kind of getting paid by those three good buffoons,
or by Nathan,
or Nathan. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think, because I think they're trying to make Sam so the little girl kind of turn on Sam a little bit. I don't know. I mean, I'm speculating.
It makes sense.
I don't think Sam killed, because the goons were there way before Sam got there, because Sam had to deal with, had to drive with the little girl. There's a lot of stuff Sam had to do, so we don't know about the timeline, because those goons were there way before Sam got back.
Right. Because another thing, though, too, and, now looking back on it, it does kind of make sense for Nathan to go in ahead and cover up some loose ends since Sam wasn't able to deliver on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes sense since she beat up those goons in the bowling alley.
Yeah.
And everything. It makes sense now that you think about it. Now that I'm actually thinking about it and everything else. But, it's fun just to speculate and everything on whatever you guys saw. Let us know in the comment section and stuff like that on what you think. But going ahead, tell me what else you want to talk about.
And the other thing, too, is when they put the sheet over the dad, there's blood on the top of the sheet. I mean, and that usually only seems if there's a head wound or something. I don't know. I think the stomach one, it can kill you. And then when I was watching, I'm like, I don't think Sam killed him, because I think he was okay, and she was gone for quite a while, and she pretty much warned the doctor, you need to fix him. And I think it's either the doctor killed him or the goons did, or somehow, or they paid the doctor to do it, or had the assistant do it. I don't know. I'm just speculating. I don't think Sam killed, the shot Sam did to that, because I think that shot, I think he would have been dead a lot sooner when she got him to the doctor. Then again, I'm just speculating, but I don't think Sam killed him. I think it was more of and Sam just took it upon her because it was guilt. But to be honest, again, that's just me. I don't think Sam technically killed him. I think it was somebody else doing it to cover up loose ends. But because how did the goons get the guns and stuff in the hospital while they're on laffy gas?
This is true. So
I don't know. That's just my thoughts.
But also too, there's actually something else that I forgot to mention before she gets over to the other gangsters who actually have the daughter and everything. She actually goes over to the library to get the weapons clean. In other words, she has to go in and drop this off at the old weapons that she had into the library, and then she gets new weapons from the library, which I love the library part sequence and everything. I thought that was very interesting to have that kind of mythology with it. It has that John Wick, Charlie Angels kind of vibe to it. Like Brandy said, when she saw that it had this Charlie Angels kind of flavor to it in a sense, but also too has a very John Wick kind of flavor to it as well. And I like when she goes up to Florence and she wants to go ahead and open up a library account. And she goes, well, I don't think you have an account here. Well, I want to open one. She goes, you do look familiar. So she winds up going into this little secret passage place and everything, and takes her downstairs. And then that's when we wind up finding all the other sisterhood assassins and everything. And I do like the sisterhood of assassins in this movie. I thought the sisters were really good in this. Angela Bassett always ends up, even if it's in a bad movie or whatever, you know that you can count on her to carry the movie if it needs to be carried. Angela Bassett does a good job. The sisterhood has a very good chemistry with one another and stuff like that. And I liked how they go on ahead. They go into Sam's bag, and Sam's bag actually has this thing called on the bag. It says "I love kittens" on it, and it has a Tommy Hawk. And I liked how Florence. Oh, I was looking all over for Tommy. I could never find him. And then and then the other one is just analyzing Sam's personality based off the guns she has and stuff like that. She goes, "No, I can go both ways pretty much on men." She goes, "Girls are fair game." So a feminist and also independent, somewhere around that area. I know that I'm not going for verbatim here, but then Angela Bassett takes out the two dual pistols and everything, is very impressed because, well, maybe I'm just a professional. Oh, okay. So you're a professional. So no kids. Okay. So I definitely like the dialogue whenever it happens with that because I thought it was very snarky. It's very quick. It's perfectly well executed whenever you look at it. I thought that was really good. And then I also like how all these guns are actually in these books, and each one represents what the gun is and what that type of weapon does. Like, for instance, you have a Jane Austen book, which is Pride and Prejudice. You have Charlotte Brontë, which is another book that I couldn't even I didn't even catch the cover to the title on that one. But Virginia Woolf book is A Room of One's Own. And then you have Agatha Christie. She has they have a book and everything, and basically all these guns and weapons and everything is inside the book, cut into the book and everything. So I definitely like that. What about you? I had fun with the library scene, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, like this when you meet the squad, Michelle Yeoh is just she's always great in that, like in the that her being typecast, but she's an iconic badass. I mean, she's very famous internationally, but she's a lot of stuff she's in, like she's gonna be in the new Shang-Chi movie, so she's in a Marvel movie, so she's everywhere pretty much. So she's very iconic. And then Carla Gugino as Florence. She's like I said, she's always been great in a lot of stuff. Like I always known her as Carmen and Junie's mom from Spy Kids. But no, there's hers Florence being the one kind of like she's always like if this crew was kind of like let's just do like like American Idol judge like earlier. Florence, which is Carla Gugino, would be the Paula Abdul character because she's always so nice and positive about everything, no matter if the performance is like garbage. The hard ass of the group is definitely the Angela Bassett character. She's like the Simon Cowell. She's very critical until there's a very few times where she's nice, but she's more nicer than that. And then the other one is kind of like, I don't know what but I think they all kind of seem like each one's got different personalities, and Florence was the one that picked up something was familiar about Sam, and they find out Scarlet's kid, and Scarlet is the Lena Headey character, and that's how they kind of like help her out and like, okay, yeah, you're in, and all that is like, oh, the tomahawk, I've been looking for you. She's like, sorry about that. But it's just Sam's character likes cats. I mean, that's her pajamas. That's how she went into the restaurant, like in the beginning of the movie, after she's eating cereal or something, after she's sewn up her arm. Like she's always wearing like these kitty pajamas or something like that. It's just, you get to see a different, I kind of like, she's all killy, but she's like, she kills you with kindness after she kills you in a sense. That's what Sam's, but yeah, I love that scene with that. I think the Jane Austen book, there was nothing in it. That's just for, as Florence says, just some fun to read. But yeah, each book has a weapon or a survival tactic. Like, I mean, hence the library can be your weapon. And this one literally takes it literally a book has a weapon in it that you can use. You can even use a book as a weapon. I mean, Denzel used a book as a weapon in The Equalizer. He killed somebody with a book. Heck, John Wick killed a man with a book too, right in the neck. So a book can be used as a weapon if you know how to use it right. But yeah, I love the library sequence. It was great. And we'll get back to the library in a bit. But yeah, this is not a one-time appearance for the library, which I really appreciated.
Me too. At first, whenever they were introducing the library, to be honest with you, I'm like, okay, is this going to be a one-shot kind of thing and it's done and then Sam goes out on a journey, or are we going to see more of these characters? Because I loved these characters so much in the library sequence and how relatable they actually are. Even though they're Sisterhood of Assassins, they're very relatable in a certain aspects to them. And I love their characters because of that. So I thought that was really good. The dialogue to me flowed really great with them on that aspect and everything for that. And then, then of course we wind up going on ahead. We're seeing Sam go over to the bowling alley to deliver the money over to those guys. And I love the color schemes. Yes, yet again, it has this red vibrant type of thing and stuff like that. I definitely love the colors inside the bowling alley. I thought that was really good. And then of course Sam winds up getting a call from them. He goes, "Where's the father at?" He goes, "And he had an accident." I'm not going for verbatim. I'm just quoting something that I made up. But so anyways, the goons that Nathan hires and everything shows up at the bowling alley. Next thing you know, you get to see how badass Sam actually is. I liked the scene a little bit. Some of it seemed kind of wonky a little bit here and there on some of the fighting aspects of it. But I definitely do like the fact that we do get to see some fighting from her, opposed to the very beginning of the film. So that I can actually appreciate. I definitely liked the part where she takes the backpack and everything, or this luggage, and she's blocking their moves with the with the weapons and everything. I thought that was really good. She takes the handle and winds up hitting someone, bashing somebody's head in with the handle and everything. That was really good. Then, of course, the bowling ball part makes me cringe every single time when she hits one of the goons with the bowling ball in the back. Then also to the face. That was laid out pretty well. Where it gets kind of wonky for me is just when she takes the money bag and everything and starts hitting people, takes it and just hits people with it. It just seemed like the money would be a little too heavy for her to actually have in her hand. That's just me. But it just felt kind of wonky on that part. But as far as her letting the money bag be a weapon when she's on the ground doing some ground and pound stuff, I thought that actually worked out in her favor more than what it did whenever she had it in her hands. But I also like the fact that we actually get to know where she got that iconic jacket at and everything, because she didn't want to wear the bowling alley shirt or anything like that. So she changes into that. And so then she's ready to go on ahead. And I loved how these gangsters are like in Frankenstein mask. They're also in the werewolf, Wolfman mask, and then Frankenstein and Dracula mask. I thought that was actually pretty funny that they actually did something like that. And then of course, that's when they tell her, okay, you have to meet me at this old video store that's actually run down in the mall. So that's where we pick up at. So I'm going to let Charlie go on ahead and take it away with the whole entire thing with the bowling alley.
I love that sequence. I thought it was a great fight scene. I thought it was shot well. Like, I didn't see the wonkiness in it because the money isn't what you expect for money. It was more just like paper certificates. That's really what it was. It wasn't like the cash that you normally see at drug houses, like this, like $100,000. Heck, I mean, we've seen a dodgeball. $100,000 was just like a tiny stack of money. So it's like this one looked like kind of like certificate-y kind of papers. It didn't look that heavy. So that's why she was probably able to pick it up and just start whacking people with it. But then again, these guys were like paperweights anyway, so I think it's kind of like making a reference. These guys are weak. She's gonna beat your ass with a pack of paper. So I didn't see the wonkiness of it. I was just so invested in the fight about how much of a badass she was, and she just took out those goons. Like, I don't want to hurt you, but you're not giving me any choice. But yeah, the bowling alley that was pretty cringeworthy, but. There's some more cringeworthy stuff later on in terms of like brutalness. I'm like, ooh, like screaming, ooh, but yeah, and I like the goons are all wearing like, and they're like, who the hell is this girl? I'm like, they're like seriously kind of scared of her, which is kind of funny. It was just kind of funny because these guys think like, oh, we're tough, we're badasses. I'm like, really? Are you? Because later on, you just killed each other. She didn't do anything to you. You just shot each other. I thought that scene was so funny.
I did too. Yeah, I thought that scene was actually pretty funny, to be honest with you, because it had this Joker kind of vibe from The Dark Knight where they're all taking out each other because they're greedy for money. But those are basically just like saving bonds, if you think about it, when you look at the certificates and things like that. So they stole over, I forgot how much money from the firm, but it's all equaled out to with saving bonds, which is actually worth money and stuff like that. But still, it's just the whole fact that now these guys are actually scared of her. And I like how they do the trade off with the money and with the little girl. They have the little girl in the shopping cart, and then you see Sam put the money in the shopping cart because they tell her, hey, look, we're going to do a trade off. You're going to put the little girl in the shopping cart. We're going to have the girl in the shopping cart, and you're going to end up pushing the cart with the money at the same time that we push the girl. So they wind up trading off. And at first, it's not a backstabby thing. They don't backstab her like I think that they were or anything like that. They just wanted the money and go off, and that's it, which is unusual for some douchebags, gangsters to do something like that. But that's all they were after was just the money itself. So they just were using the girl as leverage. So the girl is okay. Sam goes, I'll be right back, because she needs to go on ahead and get the money so that way she can bring it back over to Nathan. And then that's when, of course, she goes into the underground garage. And then that's when you see the whole entire plan with the gangsters go south, pretty much. Because then next thing you know it, the driver, I think he was the Wolfman. The Wolfman is driving. He winds up getting shot with one of the guys in the back seat. Next thing you know it, he dies. He crashes into one of the part of the building or whatever. And then next thing you know it, you wind up seeing another part where Frankenstein and Dracula are facing off against each other, shooting each other for the money and everything. And then you see Dracula pull a grenade and throw it at the Wolfman, and then at that point, that's when Sam knew that she was screwed, because then all of a sudden, whenever the grenade goes off, that's when the money is just everywhere, and there's nothing that she can do. So now, not only does she have the Russian mob after her, now she has the firm after her. So now you have two people after her and wants to kill her because of the fact that, number one, you killed a Russian boss's son. Now you also ended up taking upon yourself to rescue this girl's father, and also to try and keep the money so that way you can go ahead and bring it back over to the firm so you can be a hero on both sides, and instead it just winds up blowing up in her face, pun intended. But but still, I thought that this was very good. And also too, before the grenade actually goes off, he winds up shooting Sam in the arm. It's like a little scratch wound or whatever and everything, but a little flesh wound. But that's it. And then all of a sudden, it just goes off because Sam was just going to go on ahead and let them take care of themselves and then take the money later, whoever dies, which was a smart strategy on Sam's part to actually do that. But, I'm going to let you take it away on what you liked about that, though.
I mean, I thought that whole sequence was hysterical. Like the goons, like, I mean, this is like it's an assassin movie, but it's got a lot of humor and it doesn't seem forced. This one was hysterical. Like the guy's being money greedy and like, no, I'm taking the money. What about you? Wait, I thought I was taking the money. Now I'm going to just shoot you. And you just knew it was just going to go chaotic. It wasn't going to go according to plan. And the guy chucking the grenade, and then Sam's just walking out there. She just was like staring. I'm like, what is going on? Like she was just walking normally. Like she didn't really seem a rush. Like I think deep down she kind of knew the money was going to get blown up anyway. And I think that was the point. Like I don't think she was going to return the money anyway. But I don't know. That does seem to be Sam's way of like, you know what? Like you lied to me. You miscommunicated, and yet you threw these goons at me to try to keep me from saying something. I mean, I think Sam knew deep down, but just seeing the goons just go off the way they did, I was like, "What is going?" Like, I was like, it was a nice like another funny moment in it. Like, I mean, it's just seeing them just take each other out and nobody gets the money. I thought that was hysterical.
Yeah, I thought so too. And then it breaks into Paul Giamatti's character after that, where we wind up seeing the secretary of the firm come up to him and goes, remember that job that Sam did? Yeah. Well, she killed the Russian boss's son. And he goes, oh. And then he realized, okay, now he can't even protect Sam like he wanted to protect her. Because whenever he ended up telling the goons before they got up was, look, You're not going to use any guns. You're not going to use any force or anything with her. You're just going to go on ahead and talk to her and tell her to bring the money back. And that's it. Now he can't even do that, even if she did bring the money back or anything like that. There would be no peace or anything like that because, yeah, she would end up having peace with the Russian people. No, not the Russian people, but the firm. But as far as taking someone's son, no, that's not going to fly with the Russian mob or anything like that. That's like taking out Tony Soprano's son and daughter and also Carmela. So, no, that's not going to fly with him no matter what. So, either way it goes, you would have just still one person going after her, regardless of the fact that she brought in the money or not. But still, I thought this scene was really good and everything. And of course, Nathan knows that he's in trouble. The firm is in trouble. And of course, Sam is in trouble for what she did. So now he can't even protect her. So he calls the goons up, though, too, and he goes, so are you going to give her the VIP package? Or is that still a thing? Or do we kill her? She doesn't get the VIP package anymore. And at this point, they're actually on laughing gas because of how much damage Sam actually did to them, which is actually funny. I liked it whenever they were on the laughing gas part. I liked that bit a lot. And I liked how one of them says, this is the worst pain that I've ever been in. And he just starts cracking up laughing. And he goes, who did this to you? The doctor's like, who did this to you? Oh, one of the girls that worked for the firm, Sam. And he goes, oh, that looks like the same kind of damage that this girl did to the other guy back there. So go on ahead, Charlie.
Oh, no. I was about to say, like, you knew who they were talking about mentioning the word Sam, which is kind of funny. And this has led me to believe that I think those, between the four of them, they were involved in killing that guy, because the fact that the doctor knew about the damage she did to one of the guys in there kind of leads me to believe that either the doctor killed him and then want the goons to kill Sam, or one of the goons had something to do with it too, because how the heck did they have guns and shotguns in that when it's very suspicious that I think each one of those four of those guys had something to do with the dad getting killed, because he was pretty beat up. All the doctor said he was pretty beat up. They didn't say dead until Sam saw it. So I think between that time frame, that's when they killed the guy. But yeah, I just thought that sequence was hysterical. But them on laughing gas, I'm like, yeah, we're about to die, and they're just like having a good time. And the doctor's like, oh my god, what am I doing? Okay, that's right. We're gonna have to excommunicate her. And then yeah, go ahead.
And then at that point and everything, after that happens, then you see Sam and Emily trying to escape the mall. And all these other gangsters and everything else everyone else is after her. And I've liked how they play this off really well, where they actually escape from that, and then they go back over to the doctors, and that's when Sam winds up discovering that Emily's dad is now dead. He's covered in, like Charlie says, he was covered in blood. The whole entire sheet was covered in blood and everything. And then, of course, these gangsters are still there. But I like how Sam is quick on her feet. She winds up taking the gun out of the tooth that she had left before and takes it out. And then she goes on, and she's prepared to take anyone down. And the doctor goes, don't worry, I got this. In 60 seconds, she'll be on her ass, and she won't even know what's happening. So he takes the vial and everything and gets ready to go on ahead and give Sam the shot. And, he's telling Sam, he goes, you know what? That scratch can actually get infected. Here, let me try and take care of it for you. She goes, no, I'm good. I don't need it. Next thing you know it, Emily's looking, and then Emily says something to her, and then all of a sudden Sam winds up getting hit with the needle. And it looks like one of those Total Recall needles. It doesn't even look like a normal needle or anything like that. But all of a sudden in 60 seconds, her hands or arms are actually paralyzed. So she can't even do anything. But just swing her arms pretty much. But that's about it. But I definitely like that part. And then, of course, you go into the whole entire fight sequence. Now, she can't use her arms like she can. So all she can use is her legs. and use that to her advantage rather than her arms and everything. But what did you think of the action sequence with that?
I loved it. I thought it was really cool. Apparently she did use her hands, like she can just swing them around. That's why she put tape on. She put tape so with a scalpel in her one hand, and then she had Emily tape the gun while her fingers on the trigger on the other hand, and she's resourceful. Like, I mean, Emily is like the I think she's gonna be her apprentice. Like she seemed to like, oh, I'm her apprentice before Sam even says it, but Sam was like resourceful, so I like that whole sequence. Like, I knew she knew something was up when she picked up the gun, like from the tooth. I like I said later on, I thought the tooth that jar, I thought that was plastic. Boy, was I wrong after what happened later on, and how metallic that or how like heavy that tooth was, and once boom, like smashed the guy's face in. I thought that was like that was a cringe moment for me, but in a hilarious way because the guy totally deserved it. But just how resourceful Sam was to figure out, no, I don't need the shot, and how she was fighting off the doctor for the long part until the doctor just nicked her with the shot. So she lost paralysis. She has no paralysis in her arms, and how she was able to use the chair and spin the chair around while she's like slice. Like, I mean, this scene's violent, but it's like, it's kind of comedic. It's a comedic violence. If there's such a thing. But
like
it was
dark humor.
Yeah,
pretty much like dark humor.
Yeah. I thought it was a well shot like action sequence. It was really cool. This just shows you how resourceful and how much of a badass Sam actually is. Like, she's not going down without a fight, and that's what I really liked about her character. But that whole sequence was great, especially how she killed the doctor with the tooth.
Yeah, whenever I say now, here's the thing. I didn't like the music aspect to it. Yeah, I like dark humor. Yeah, I like it whenever it's comical and stuff like that. If they have the right kind of music. If they don't have the right kind of music for me, it takes me out of it a little bit. But I was laughing, so it did its job on that part. As far as the music line it goes for that, it kind of took me out of it. But also, too, it still kept me engaged into the action sequence and stuff like that. But the funny part for me, like you mentioned, though, is the tooth. Because I thought it was actually plastic, though, too. To be honest with you, I didn't think it was that heavy until she drops it on that henchman's face, and then you're like, "Ooh, okay, my bad." That is definitely not good. But yeah, then after that, we wind up seeing them going outside of the parking garage yet again, and this time she had like Charlie says, she has no paralysis in her arms or anything like that, but I like how resilient she is. So she's like, "Hey Emily, have you ever learned how to drive?" She goes, "Well, you're gonna learn today." And she has her on her lap, and she goes, "Look, you're gonna do the steering, and you're also going to use the reverse and drive. When I tell you to reverse, you're gonna reverse. When I tell you to drive, you're gonna drive. When I tell you to do a hard left, you're gonna do a hard left or hard right." And I love the stunt work with this. This, to me, worked big time when it comes down to it. And then also, too, the forklift scene. Whenever that one scene where one of the cars winds up banging right into the car lift and winds up decapitating one of the henchmen's heads. Like, ooh, that was another cringeworthy moment where I'm like, okay, this is actually making me hurt. You know? Going ahead.
That was a great. I mean, it makes you hurt, but it makes you like, ooh, like if you like this kind of stuff. I mean, it's entertaining. It's pretty cool. But I want to mention like some before, like as soon as like before they get to the doctor's office, the little dialogue between Emily and Sam when they're in the car, and when Emily notices the bullet wound first, is like, whoa, that like, man, you got shot in the arm. You know that can get infected, right? And like, and then Emily's going into so much facts about that, and she goes, "Where'd you learn about this? History Channel?" And she's like, "Man, what are the teachers teaching you guys these days?" I just thought that scene was pretty funny about how she's going on the deeper, darker side of a single bullet wound. How you might think it's nothing, like a dum wound, and how you find out, oh, it can get infected with syphilis, and then you could die. And she's like, what are they teaching you these days? I thought that sequence was kind of funny, like little kind of humor, But it kind of shows you like the two of them got great chemistry. The two of them, like, they're just kind of riffing on each other. But yeah, I love the car chase sequence. I thought that was cool. And the 8-year-old's driving the car. And now after she's driven the car, can I drive? No. Can I turn the radio then? Knock yourself out. So she's driven before, but they don't want her driving again.
Also, too, I forgot to mention the fact that they do spare the doctor's life thanks to Emily. She just like, I just want to let you know, your life got spared by an 8-year-old. And she just looks at her, 8 3/4. 8 3/4.
8 3/4.
Which is hysterical. I thought Emily, the girl who this child actress that plays Emily, was really good in everything in this film. I thought this was a film that was made for her. Her and Sam paired up really well with this film and everything. And outside of Marvel, with this actress playing Nebula and everything, she definitely does a great job with this.
Yeah, she's great in the Jumanji movies as well.
Yes, Karen Gilligan is just fantastic. I have to say. Yeah. Then, of course, after that winds up happening, Sam receives a text from Nathan giving her the address to a safe house where she can find supplies to help her escape. She and Emily travel there and run into Scarlet, who's her mother, and reveal she has been watching Sam from afar for over 3 years of her life. And then, of course, at first you have this little sad moment and everything because of the fact that, she's questioning Scarlet. She's like, why did you leave me there after all this time and everything? And now I'm an assassin. And she goes, well, I didn't want this life for you. He goes, well, that's all I know. That's all I'm good at. And she goes, well, that's all I'm good at too. And then there's like this mother and daughter bonding period where they hug and embrace each other. And then they squash the beef that they have against each other. And then they realize they have to survive. And then also too, you also have Emily going through the channels and everything too. And she goes, we have company. And it's these other henchmen. And this reminds me of the Goonies in so many ways. And also reminds me of Breaking Bad, the way the secret passageway is. Because they have a dryer. Scarlet has a dryer in the safe house. And she's like, okay, come on. Let's go through here. And then I like how Sam just goes, what the hell is that? It goes to Narnia. What do you think it is? So they go through this dryer, and it reminds me of the Goonies. And also and the reason why I say that is because when the henchmen are going after the Goonies, there's a secret passage in the fireplace where the Goonies are actually underneath the fireplace while these goons are going in there. So I like that. Then also too, it reminds me of Breaking Bad because when you have Jesse and all them working in this secret lab, there's this broken down dryer, and this dryer opens up into the place where they actually do their drugs and stuff like that, make their drugs. So I thought that was an interesting play to have a secret passage in this. And then after that, they wind up passing through a kitchen, and then after the kitchen and everything, they finally make their exit. And I like how they actually talk to the chef. He goes, oh, you're doing a great job on your food, by the way. Keep up the good work. And then you see the goons looking around, seeing where they went, because at that point, they already passed through everything already. And then they wind up finding out that it's the dryer, so they go on ahead, go through it, and stuff like that. And then, of course, there's this massive shootout and everything, too, whenever they're trying to escape. And then finally we make it over to the library. But I'll let you, Charlie, go on ahead, take it away if there's anything that you wanted to talk about before the library.
Yeah. I don't think there was a shootout before.
Okay,
I think I think the shootout happened right when they get to the library. So I think this one was more of them escaping. I thought the reintroduction of the mother is funny. Like she has two doors. They go to the door on the left. She's hiding the door on the right, and she has the gun pointed at Sam. And he goes, "Oh, I taught you better than this. Oh, hi, Mom. Like, is this like this that?" And he goes, "Who's this?" And she's like, she started freaking out. Oh my God, am I a grandmother? Oh God, no. Oh, thank God. I was like, no, hi, I'm her apprentice. Like, she just flat out admits she's the apprentice. And then, like, I thought that was a nice heart to heart with that. I mean, yeah, they of course they have to squash the beef that. I mean, but I think the mom had every reason to do it because she didn't want her daughter to be in this life. But too bad she is. And then they ask the question, does she know about really what happened to her father? And Sam's taking the guilt to herself because she thinks she killed the father, which I still don't think she did. And then them escaping, and then I thought the sequence before they get to the real exit, they're going down the elevator, and the mom and Sam's like, "Come on, mom, you got a plan. You always got a plan." And then they open the elevator, and you see the whole goons and stuff. Well, before, because the mom injects Sam with the antidote to get her paralysis back up. And then they open up the thing. You see this whole squad of goons filled up. Sam chucks the gun at him, and then they press the elevator button, and the mom's just laughing. It's like, all right, ha ha, mom. Like, yeah, like you told me my paralysis is gonna be over. Yeah, I said it might. It was just a kind of like little setup joke. I thought it was pretty funny how Sam's paralysis still was there after the antidote, and she just chucked the gun at the goon, didn't do anything. I thought that sequence was pretty funny. And then the mom, Scarlet really did have a plan for them to escape. I thought that sequence was pretty funny. This Sam just chucking the gun at the guy. And then so after the sequence, that's when they moved to the library, and that's when Scarlet and Emily and Sam, they meet up with the sisterhood again, and how Florence was so happy to see Scarlet again. And then the Angela Bassett character, and we looked that up, her character name, how she was like to this day, you didn't say goodbye, or you didn't apologize for disappearing. And that, so it was anime, and it was anime. Florence is the Michelle Yeoh character, so the Carla Gwynn is that Madeline. That was the one that was we got the names mixed up. So Madeline was the one that was very I knew something was familiar about you, Sam. Madeline was was so happy to see Scarlet back. So anyway, they go down to the lower level, and they're trying to see they see all the goons standing up, so they're trying to protect the little girl Emily. So they're just how swarmed of guns and stuff they are, and then Scarlet's like, I want to help my daughter, and then Sam's like, no, this is my mistake. I'm gonna go ahead and I gotta take it. I gotta own up for my mistake. That just shows you the type of character that she is, and it's how she doesn't run away from a fight. And what I really liked was what the sisterhood told her. Oh, there's a weapon in a book. You just gotta find it. Your self-help is on the left. This other thing's on the right. And everybody else is down at the down in the basement area, loading up, getting ready to go to wherever else they had to go. I think they're planning on going to the diner or something. I forgot. I saw this on Saturday. And then they had this big action sequence, which I thought was a really good sequence. So this shows Karen Gillan just being a badass, taking out these guys with a switchblade or a book. I think she killed a guy with a book, and then there was one point where she was getting overrun, and then Lena Headey's like, I cannot abandon my daughter again. And she comes in with dual pistols. Like I said, this whole sequence was just so good. I mean, it was like the whole the library wasn't just a one shot. This whole big action sequence was fantastic.
Yeah, the library scene alone is the reason why you're enticed into this whole entire movie, though, to begin with. Mm-hmm. Is because of the fact that you want to go back and revisit those characters again and stuff like that. And then I liked how, all of a sudden Sam brought the shit show to them, basically. Because of the fact she's got Emily with her. You have the firm after her. You have the Russians after her. You have this big crowd of people with her and everything that the librarians don't want. The Sisterhood of Assassins don't want and everything. But, and then, of course, they're actually surprised that Scarlet is back and everything too, which is something that I really liked. It's like, oh, Scarlet's back. Where have you been and everything? So I definitely like that. They go into this other little secret passageway down to where they were. And I liked how each setting in this library sequence has its own theme and stuff like that. I thought that was laid out perfectly well whenever the henchmen and everything is going into the library part. But let's just talk about this for a minute. I liked how Sam is like, so where do I get more guns? Oh, go to the how-to section and everything. And it's like some of it is mixed in with directions, some of it has guns in it. It's just it's basically a mixed bag of books, basically. And whatever you get, you better hope that it's a weapon. Otherwise, you're gonna have to find a way to actually make something a weapon whenever it's not a weapon.
Yeah.
Sam winds up finding a switchblade in one of them. Winds up finding survival tactics in one of them. So it goes on for quite a bit with this scene and everything.
Yeah,
too.
it was a long sequence. It was a great sequence too, because even like, and then when Lena Headey came in with so she jumped in slow motion with the dual pistols. I was like, okay, she's a badass in this movie, and I was like, there's various times where I thought, oh my god, one of these people are gonna die. Like somebody's gonna either sacrifice themselves and they're gonna die. And then I was really bummed when that Madeline, she was the Carlo Guingo character that we said was like, I knew something about you. Her name, Florence was the Michelle Yeoh character.
Yeah, Michelle Yeoh was my favorite one. And so was but the one you're talking about is also my favorite one because of the Gatling gun.
Yeah, and everything. This music on, this like the noise canceling headphones. So she's just going torching that, and then like the fact that she was the only one to die, that was sad.
It definitely was sad. But I like the fact that she died protecting Emily, and also too, I love the Janis Joplin song.
Yeah,
that was playing. That actually fit in with the music and stuff like that. That didn't take me out of it as much as the other song that was playing whenever you're looking at that silly sequence when inside the doctor's office or anything like that. But this was very good, very well laid out and everything. So I definitely like the action sequence with it. I geeked out whenever I saw the Gatling gun. And Brandy just looks at me. She goes, I thought you haven't seen this movie before. I said, I see the Gatling gun in the corner. She goes, oh.
Yeah. So, he was playing the trailer too, and was in the trailer, so we kind of knew the Gatling gun was coming. But and I love the bayonets they put onto the guns. So while it shows Scarlet and Sam, they're just beating these guys up, and like there's various times where it looked like one of them was that, and then she comes out, like stabs the guy, then shoots him. Like this whole sequence just worked just well. And then you even got Florence and Anna May involved in the different worlds. Or Anna May was using the hammer, was going hammer time on everybody, and then the Michelle Yeoh character is just using a chain just to, like, choke people out. And of course the two of them end up saving Sam and Scarlet from this giant brute or something. I felt like this whole sequence was a fantastic action sequence.
And also too, I like Michelle Yeoh when she got out the M16 and just went ham on everybody. Yeah, that was just that just was mind blowing to me. I mean, I'm like, this woman is a total badass. You do not want to mess with this woman.
No, you don't want to mess with any of them.
No, definitely not. Then after we get that shootout and everything, of course, now it goes into the diner scene again.
Yeah,
and basically it's where Sam is trying to make a deal. You can tell that Sam wants to try and make a deal with the Russian father that she killed, Russian son's father. And he walks in and everything, and the waitress is like, want to lighten your load? Not today. Walks over to Sam inside the booth, goes, look, I just want to let you know that I'm going to make you suffer the way that I have never let anyone suffer before. And Sam was just calm. She goes, I just want to say that I'm sorry for killing your son. I didn't mean to kill your son. The firm told me to kill your son, and it was nothing personal. It was just business. And he goes, business or not, you're still going to be being tortured day in and day out until you're dead. And then all of a sudden you see the whole entire diner filled with guns blazing, which I love this sequence of the wide angle shot of every single character that we've been introduced to. You see Michelle Yeoh, you see the assassins, the Sisterhood of Assassins and everything in the scene, and just going all out.
It's only 3 of them, and they take out this entire Russian crew. But go ahead, I'll
No. Going ahead. I want you to put your thoughts into it.
Okay. I think it was. I think the Russian guy was already there. I think it was Sam
Yeah.
that walked in. Yeah. No worries. I didn't mean to critique.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's cool because I wasn't sure how that
Okay.
ending part was
Yeah.
in a little bit, but I'm glad
Yeah.
that you worked it out.
I think it was like that because early on it was Sam sitting there in the very beginning. Sam was sitting there and the Russians walked in. Can we lighten your load? So this one was the opposite, where all the Russians were sitting down and they had Emily, and Sam's like, "Emily, are you okay?" And she goes, "Yeah." And that's when she's sitting down with the Russian like that, and he's like, "I'm sorry, I killed your son." And then he goes, I'm gonna torture you really bad. Because before this, Emily, Sam was giving herself up, like, because she was telling Mom, like, "Mom, don't you have any plan? You always got a plan." And is like, my plan is we're going to do this in the diner because they can't have weapons there. They're not allowed to do that. And I'm going to that sacrifice man is like, "Do you have a better plan?" And the mom was like, "No." So that's when Sam was kind of going in on her own, because that's when you think, okay, Sam's going to sacrifice herself. And then all of a sudden you see Lena Headey with the shotgun to the head of the Russian guy, the Russian mob leader, and then you see all the other assassins. But yeah, that wide angle singles, like that sequence. Michelle Yeoh's character got the brutal end of it, because you see this, like, the knife, like the sword hit her in the top of the eye. It was like either under the eye or on top of the eye, and because that's where she's wearing the eye patch in the end of the movie. She got nailed pretty hard with the sword. But yet she still went on, guns blazing, and like they took the three girls, took out the entire army, and that was awesome.
That was a sweet scene. That's probably one of my favorite action sequences that I've seen in this movie, aside from the library scene. But the whole reason why Sam is sacrificing herself is to save Emily, because Emily got kidnapped during that whole entire charade and everything after one of the Sisterhood of Assassins got killed. So, Sam is just trying to do the right thing here and is trying to sacrifice herself for Emily to do a trade-off and everything. Then, of course, that's when we wind up seeing that awesome action sequence that we wind up seeing. And then after that, we go into Paul Giamatti's character, Nathan. He's waking up. It's early in the morning. And, then the maid winds up telling him there's a Girl Scout there that wants to see you. And of course, we already know it's Emily. I mean, there's no two ways about it. It's Emily. So, at first I wasn't sure if Emily was going to go ahead and kill him or anything, because that was my first initial thought, was maybe she was going to go ahead and get a pistol out and kill him with the silencer, but she didn't do that or anything like that. But basically what winds up happening is this. Sam also apologizes to Emily for killing her father and everything else too. So that's also another thing I want to mention, because Sam does have a little bit of a nightmare that Sam is going to get revenge on her, but ends up having a bonding moment with Emily instead, which I thought was really sweet. And then, of course, we wind up seeing this scene where we're face to face with Paul Giamatti's character, Nathan, and he's like, well, little girl, what do you want? He goes, I want you to leave us alone. And so he goes, so where is Sam at? And then you see a laser being pointed at his chest. And that's whenever she starts going into negotiations. And I'll let you do the negotiation scene.
Yeah. Before, I want to mention the scene between Emily and Sam, because that nightmare, I thought that really happened. And then when she woke up, and of course she's wearing the kitty pajamas and stuff. And you see Emily out there, and she goes, "I'm really sorry for killing your dad." She goes, "I know, I know, but we need to get the guy that made you pull the trigger." Because Emily kind of knew deep down, and she goes, but Emily's like, "I know you tried to save my dad." And then you end up saving me. So Emily isn't the killer type yet, but I think that's why I think she's going to be Sam's apprentice. So she's going to be Sam's probably going to teach her some stuff. But I thought that heart-to-heart moment was really cool, because it showed the two of them on equal footing. They don't have a grudge against each other, because Sam practically sacrificed herself to save this little girl, because she didn't have to. But she felt so guilt-stricken about killing her dad, even though Emily knew it's not your fault. It's the quote, Good Will Hunting, it's not your fault. And I'm surprised how he's like, "Don't do this to me, man." But yeah, essentially, it wasn't. She pulled the trigger, but she didn't mean to because she didn't know the full facts. Because again, the firm lied to her about what was really going on. But I thought that was really nice. And then the sequence of Emily saying, he's like, so little girl, what can I get you? Well, I want you to leave us alone. Why would I do that? You need to look into your heart. And then when he said, look into your heart, that's when the laser is that, and that's when Sam called him, like, you're going to either tell the firm to leave us alone or warn them that we're coming. And just know that if whatever you decide, your life will be spared by an 8-year-old girl. And she goes, 8 3/4, 8 3/4. Oh, I'm sorry. 8 3/4.
I always love that funny little bit though, whenever she does the 8 3/4 thing. So that's always great, and it's never really forced. It's only mentioned twice, so I thought that was great. The ending is great, despite the dialogue at the very beginning that I didn't really care for. The dialogue does wind up getting better towards the middle and everything, so I thought that was good that it actually straightened out towards the end of the film. Because here's the thing with dialogue for me, yeah, I don't really care about plot points and certain things, but whenever the dialogue isn't strong, it just isn't strong for me. And therefore, because it's not strong, it's going to take me out of the movie and everything else. So that's just me and my perspective of it and everything. But, everybody has their own thought process on it. So is there any final thoughts for this?
No, I thought it was a great movie. I enjoyed it. Definitely a lot better than a lot of stuff I just watched. More specifically, the movie I just watched on Friday night, that was an epic piece of shit. That's Space Jam 2. I'm sorry. If come at me, you can find you know where to find me, and I can go 20 rounds of how bad Space Jam 2 is. I don't care if you call it a 10 out of 10. This movie's 10 times better than that. And if you're 10 out of 10, I'm gonna ask, who's your drug dealer, and can I get some of those drugs? Because that's how I know you that's probably how you were entertained by that movie. That's me. If you want to see me go on a full hour rant, watch our video for our Space Jam 2 review. But this movie was, I was entertained by it. This movie, I was excited for the trailer. This movie, and the action sequences were well worth seeing this movie. If you got Netflix and you're looking for something to watch to get that bad taste of Space Jam 2 on your mouth, watch this one. This movie, this is 2 hours, but it feels right 2 hours, not 2 hour, an hour and 50 movies of crap, and it goes on for 2.5 hours. I thought this was a good time frame for this movie.
Hour 40 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, it was about give or take. Yeah, it's about that. Whatever. This is an entertaining movie. This is it. If you want entertainment, if you want to get action, if you want to see strong female characters kick ass, not flop on the floor like a bitch like LeBron, check this movie out. And avoid Space Jam 2. I'm going to keep saying that to anything that's better in 2021. So if you love Space Jam 2, don't tune in. Subscribe, but don't tune in.
So with that being said, guys, this is going to be it for our Gunpowder Milkshake review. I hope that you guys enjoy it. If you guys are just watching it on the replay, do us a favor and just hit that like button, hit that share button. Don't forget to subscribe. It helps us with a long way. If you're going on and listening to this on audio podcast as well, please go on ahead and rate us on Apple Podcast and also on Good Pods as well. It actually helps us out with people finding our podcast and everything, and we do appreciate that. And also give us a review over there. Then also too, if you guys want to donate the show, just go on ahead, head over to www.gofundme.com/movie lovers podcast. And then of course you guys can also go on ahead and find us on Facebook at Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite over there, and on Instagram underneath the same brand as well, and also on Pinterest too. Then of course if you want an audio only podcast, you can get that where you guys get your podcast from. And for all your entertainment needs at once, just go on ahead, head over to movieloversunite.com. Then if you wanted to, go on ahead and follow me on Twitter at Movie Lovers Unit, and also too on stereo as well under Movie Lovers Unit. And then of course you guys, if you guys are a sponsor or would like to be on the show as a guest, go on ahead and email me at movieloversunite@gmail.com. And then tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific Time, I'm going to have ACS Studio in with me, and Anthony and I are going to be talking about our childhood cartoons that we used to grow up on, different childhood memories, things like that. This is actually going to be the Reminiscing with John segment. So go on ahead, tell me what you think about our segment for the very first time, because here's the thing. If you guys like it, I'm going to go on and keep on doing it. But if we don't get the views, or if we don't get what I like to actually have for this, then that segment's not going to be there very long. So go ahead, let me know what you think of the Reminiscing with John segments that I'm going to be doing once a month. So go on ahead, check that out. And always until next time, guys, it's been real. It's been fun. Can't wait to do this again. Yeah. Bye-bye.